mom who wants her children to have a fair chance at making their own decisions, while you and your I want to be a husband convince your child that they need to get the whole trans thing going on now so they can get a Disney contract. And we all know what Disney does to children. Imagine what they do to trans kids.
Oof. Not Dwyane Wade and Gabrielle Union getting exposed again for forcing Zaya to transition so that they can smile all the way to the bank. And I'm talking about a deal worth about a whopping $50 million. And Jaguar Wright is out here dragging them to filth for allegedly forcing Zaya to transition.
Hello.
Mm.
Hello. How you doing?
We look illuminated.
Do we look alike?
Yeah.
We do?
Yeah. Haven't you seen pictures of yourself? What?
I'm saying right now, is you think you look like me?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
Cheeks and nose.
Sorry about the nose. It'll get better as you get older.
Will it?
Mine did.
Oh my God.
Okay, we know that Zaya initially identified as gay before she came out as trans, and upon her request, her father Dwyane Wade filed a petition with the Los Angeles County Superior Court to have her name legally changed. Well, according to Dwyane, Zaya knew that she wanted to be a girl when she was like 3 years old.
Zaya, early on, she was the one who sat down with us as a family and said, hey, I don't think I'm gay, right? I identify myself as a young lady, but she's known that for 9 years.
She's known since she was 3.
She's known since she was 3 years old. This is her life. This is no game to us. We're about protecting her heart. We're about protecting her joy. To do that, we have to support them. We see the smile on our daughter's face. We see the confidence that she's able to walk around and be herself, and that's when you know you're doing right.
That's right.
Please don't ask me how a 3-year-old knew they wanted to transition, because that just sounds ridiculous to me. But that's what Dwyane said. And honestly, this is just one of the things that made people conclude that they forced Zaya to transition. And you know, Zaya's biological mom, Siobhan, has actually been pretty vocal about her disapproval of Zaya's transition at such a young age. She actually alleged in a lawsuit that Dwyane was positioned to profit from the transition through contacts and marketing opportunities, specifically citing potential deals with Disney. Specifically, she claimed that during an April 2022 meeting in Atlanta, Dwyane told her a lot of money had been already made regarding Zaya's name and gender issue. Like, this is actually what was in the lawsuit. He informed me that a lot of money had been already made and that additional money will be made in relation to the name and gender issue. Wade told me that he intended to make Zaya very famous due to the name and gender issue, and also informed me that there would be endorsements, contracts associated therewith. Siobhan also said that given Dwyane's high-profile status as a professional athlete, their babies' lives have been highly publicized, and that Dwyane had appeared on national television shows and in media reports regarding the name and gender change. Zaya's birth mother only said that she was concerned that Zaya was being commercialized at a young age, and she was also scared of the uncontrollable consequences of media exposure, statements and/or pictures taken out of context, an unwanted spotlight focused on Zaya. And her main concern was that Dwyane was pressuring Zaya to move forward with the legal change to capitalize on financial offers from various companies. Of course, Dwyane denied these allegations, saying that no one in his house would force Zaya to adopt an identity against her will, and emphasized that the legal change was about allowing Zaya to live comfortably and honestly, facilitating milestones like getting a driver's license and applying for college. He even threw a bit of shade, saying, "While none of us are surprised by Siobhan's attempt to fight Zaya's identity and her unwavering attempt to drag my name through the mud, I'm very disappointed that she continuously finds ways of centering herself and her needs without regard." In addition, he also said that since Zaya's mother was an absentee mother, she did not have a say in anything that was happening in Zaya's life. In his words, quote, "Siobhan has decided to pretty much be an absent parent to Zaya all on her own. I will not sit on my hands this time and allow her to make a mockery of my dedication to my family. The high road has run out of real estate." Now, let me ask you something. As much as Dwyane said Zaya's birth mother had no say in the decision, how many deals has Zaya bagged since she transitioned? A lot, right? So, does that mean that her birth mother was right when she said that Gabrielle and Dwyane only encouraged her to transition because of the endorsements? Well, Jaguar Wright echoed the claims made by Dwyane's ex-wife, alleging that Zaya's transition was motivated by financial gain, and specifically mentioned a Disney contract, and suggested that Dwyane and Gabrielle convinced Zaya to transition to secure this lucrative deal. She also characterized Gabrielle as a manipulative person who manages her family's public image for profit, and even even compared her to Kris Jenner. Then she further claimed that Gabrielle has turned her husband into someone who wants to be a woman. To be fair, if we are talking about Dwyane wanting to be a woman, these allegations were there even before he met Gabrielle. First of all, Dwyane said during a 2021 interview with I Am Athlete that he used to wear his sister's heels and clothes when he was younger. He was like, when me and my wife looked at each other, right? And the reason we looked at each other is because of this. You know, as kids, I used to put on heels. I used to do all those things. I tried to put on whatever my sisters wear. Whatever my sisters did, I tried to do those things. There have also been a few other things later that have raised eyebrows, like how Dwyane once posted a photo with Gabrielle and his legs were crossed and he exposed a thigh tattoo. And he also posted a photo showing off his painted toes and a gold anklet. In addition, there was a blind item that made rounds saying that a former A-list NBA player says on road trips he used to sleep with his A-plus list teammate, who is also now retired, and that both men are married to women. And the names that came up a lot with regards to the blind items were Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh. Then there have been people like Boozy who have suggested that Dwyane has always been on the DL, like when he shared a post on Twitter where he wrote while targeting Gabrielle Union, "LOL, the whole world know I love women, and the world know your husband loves D. I hope you don't think blacks look at y'all like a power couple. They don't. I had refused to talk about y'all in interviews, and here you go. Go bang him with that D and wait on a script, you little white girl." Well, to a lot of people it wouldn't even matter if Dwyane is actually on the DL. The problem is, he's been accused of living his fantasies through other young men by hooking up with them at the wild parties he hosts, similar to Diddy's freak-offs. And you know who was spilling this tea? Yep, Jaguar Wright.
I'm saying that because of the artist that I just spoke to not that long ago that got invited to a party at their house. Everything was cool up front, so they went to the back and there was a bunch of old and young boys back there, all ass naked in the Wade house. So I find it funny that Gabrielle's sitting there talking about Boosie. Maybe you suspicious of him because of the shit that's happening in your house, bitch.
Speaking of the wild parties, by the way, there was a time Dwyane Wade's former business partner, Baron Richard von Hauptmann, exposed Wade with a myriad of allegations. He said that he got sucked into doing business with Dwyane because he had a first-class media persona, and people viewed him as the new Michael Jordan. Richard said that Wade was that good guy, father of the year, and celebrity who had his head on his shoulder, but he found out after a year he was nothing like that. According to Richard, Wade used an apartment to host adult parties with his entourage during his marriage, and he even went into the details of the apartment, saying, "It was a 4-bedroom place on the first floor of a high-rise. One day I got a call from my cleaning crew at the apartment. I went down there, and what I saw was disgusting. The apartment was trashed, filthy, and it wasn't the first time." Apparently, they'd have those parties there 2 or 3 times a week, and there were always dozens of people in there, including rappers, Dwyane and his entourage, and men and women they'd pick up in clubs. He even described the scenes after a party, saying there were used condoms on the floor of the bedrooms, obvious signs of intimate activities on all the beds, empty champagne and hard liquor bottles, nearly finished blunts, and half-eaten food rotting on tables and furniture. Now, allegedly, the same way Dwyane has been living his fantasies through other young men is the same way he has been living his fantasies through Zaya. What people have been saying is that Dwyane spent his career in the hyper-masculine world of the NBA, where he had to be a warrior. But now that he's retired, some allege he is using Zaya's journey as a safe proxy to explore the feminine energy he allegedly felt he had to suppress for decades. And it doesn't help that Dwyane has actually addressed the living through her idea in a way, but with a completely different spin. He's admitted in interviews that Zaya made him look in the mirror and realize his own ignorant past. And just like Jaguar and other people have been saying, Dwyane and Gabrielle have been profiting heavily from the transition. I mean, since Zaya's journey became public, the Wade household has undeniably transformed into a powerhouse of high fashion and social activism. Zaya is no longer just the daughter of an NBA star. She is a Gen Z fashion icon with her own independent revenue streams, including high-profile campaigns and runway appearances for Miu Miu, Tiffany & Company, and Prada. Not forgetting the alleged Disney deal that is allegedly going to make them millions of dollars. Well, on the other hand, you may argue that Zaya was going to be famous anyway as a Nepo baby, and Dwyane is simply providing her the platform to be famous for her authentic self rather than a forced identity. In this view, the money is a byproduct of her being a pioneer, not the motive for her existence. But what are your thoughts? Do you think that Zaya was going to be famous anyway? Or do you believe she was forced to transition by Dwyane and Gabrielle for lucrative deals? Sound off in the comments section below.